Apple heading for a third straight positive session, still down, though, nearly 10% from its December peak. Now Morgan Stanley's Erik Woodring arguing this week the stock is still a buy. He joins us now to tell you exactly why. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
What compelled you yesterday to put the note out you did, essentially doubling down on this name?
Sure. So I think the news that we got yesterday from the information that Apple is partnering or in the process of partnering with Alibaba to bring AI features to China is very important. It should not be underlooked, right? Last time we were speaking, Scott, we talked about Apple and the China problem that they have. They don't have their advanced AI technology in China. To put some context to that, when we did our smartphone survey in November, Chinese consumers ranked access to AI technology as the fourth most important feature that they were looking for in a new phone. That was the highest it's ever been. And more than 50% of Chinese consumers that did not purchase a new model iPhone said that they did not purchase it because they could not get access to Apple Intelligence. Third is when we asked those consumers whether they would want to pay for Apple Intelligence if it was available to them, 90% of them said that they would spend some amount of money, on average about $10 per month. They've never even had access to this technology. My point being, China is a market that is very technology forward. They're looking and searching for AI features from Apple. Apple has not delivered them to date. And a partnership with Alibaba, the largest e-commerce provider in China, could be monumental in at least shifting that China narrative. That's what I think was extremely important about the announcement yesterday.
Sure, but of course, and I know you would agree with this, a report of a partnership and even a partnership itself is far from a turnaround in a place that's really been a drag. And you need it to pick up significantly because you're so used to getting, what, I don't know, 17% of revs, 15, 20 from China?
Sure. But China has been a headwind for the better part of 3 years. We now have really two catalysts that have happened in the last, let's call it, month and a half that have started or at least should work in Apple's favor. One is the fact that the Chinese government has enacted national subsidies for devices up to about $820. Every iPhone outside of the 16 Pro and Pro Max are eligible for that. And what we have heard through our channel checks is that the trajectory of iPhone sales in China has improved. So clearly that is at least helping sell through. Year to date, we think those subsidies could last for the entirety of the year as of right now. And then you're right, Scott, a potential partnership is really just the beginning. But you have to start somewhere, right? We heard Tim Cook on our last earnings call talk about that there was no timeline for getting approval of AI features in China. Now we have reports of a partnership, reports that both companies have submitted the features to the Chinese regulatory authorities, and that review process is underway. That's more positive than it has ever been. So again, I don't want to get too far out over our skis. In our note, we wrote, is China turning the corner? And my answer is it's too early to say. But what we do know is that Apple loyalty rates in China are back to historical highs. That Chinese consumers want this technology, and that we are at least somewhere on the path to potentially getting this into China. That's better than it was yesterday.
Sure. I got to go in a second, but what Chris Harvey of Wells Fargo Securities said at the top of our program about Apple and his problem, quote, you're paying a premium price for non-premium fundamentals. That's hard to contest.
No, and I think that's been an argument for the better part of 15 years outside of a few years where you've had, quote, super cycles, right? We can probably look back over the last 10 years and said Apple has grown double digits in less than 5 of those. Yet we still pay a premium for Apple, right? When I started doing this job, people argued that 15 times multiple was too expensive for Apple, and look where we are here. So to me, it is still about the fundamentals. If you get a growth acceleration, if you get positive earnings revisions, this multiple will only expand from here, quite frankly.
Gotcha. All right. We'll talk to you soon, Erik. Thanks as always. That's Erik Woodring.